24 in California, the entertainment capital of the world, featuring Dr. Dwight Rogers and Tony G. It's the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks, Weekly Recess. And now, your host, Jeremy Brooks.
Welcome to the Education Talk Show with Jeremy Brooks, Weekly Recess. This is episode 13, and we are super excited. We got an incredible show for you tonight. One that's got a little bit of everything, one that's got a little bit of controversy, comedy, but the most important thing, it's an episode that's got a lot of heart. So we've got a great show. Of course, we're joined by our senior education contributors, our resident scholar. You know him, Dr. Dwight Kofi Rogers is in the house. Want to say hi real quick?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to our studio. Welcome to our home. I'm glad that you decided to share a little bit of your day, a little bit of your evening with us. So enjoy.
All right, and always keeping it real here, we got Tony G.
What's up, guys? It's a pleasure to be back, and it's my birthday in 2 days, so
It's your birthday.
feeling lucky.
And again, I mean, you know, the one thing about this show is we keep on having cake pops, and it's a double birthday celebration this time around, so that means more cake afterwards.
I know.
So more Zumba.
Oh, I got a Zumba twice. I've been kicking my doses up to 2 times.
Ooh.
Watch out. I told Steve out at Manteca, CalFit, I said, we're going to have a picture January 1st, sign up my abs, like Zumba abs. So that's in the progress. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're going to hold them to that.
That's
I hope
right.
so.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, and we're very excited, too. We got a special guest joining us tonight on the show. We've got Marc Maple is with us tonight. Marc, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm excited to be here. I like this set. It looks like a Pier 1 Imports exploded. It's a nice looking set. I like that you guys stole this desk from Sutter Fort, you know?
We actually
The
did.
original.
From John Sutter himself.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'm excited to be here. This chair has excellent lumbar support. So that makes me feel good.
I think that's the first.
Yeah.
First about the lumbar.
You know what, Jeremy? Now that he's saying it, I'm feeling it. You do have a lot of good lumbar here.
Actually, you know what? Especially over there, it's pretty nice. I am jealous, you guys. That is a nice couch.
This is a
over
nice
here.
couch.
This one's okay. It's all right, chair.
We believe in this. We believe in this.
Well, we're gonna have a great show tonight. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We've got some interesting topics. Before we dive in, I mean, let's be honest. We got headlines here. Lately, they've been kind of wild with different stories. We got students suing schools, saying they graduated without being able to read. We'll discuss that, learn more about that in a little bit. The Secretary of Education, this happened a while back, but we're going to bring this back up. Mixing up AI with A1 steak sauce. We're going to talk about that. It's already funny. Just
it happens to the best of us.
I love A1 steak sauce. Let's be honest. It makes any bland steak look great.
I mean,
it tastes great. What am I saying? Look great.
You don't put A1 on a steak.
Well, not at a premium steak. Now, if I'm at Roots Chris, I'm sure you get kicked out even asking for it. But if I'm at a Denny's late night,
a real steak eater would be ashamed of you right now.
I grew up on food for less steak, so I'm well acquainted with the A1 steak sauce.
You grew up with steak?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't grow up.
She'd put them in the oven, they cup up like cups, and then that just left like a good spot to pour the A1 steak sauce in.
We didn't have steak growing up. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, what the heck? I'm sorry. Oh, my
all right,
goodness.
so we're talking about A1 steak sauce on the show tonight.
It's
It's going to be fun. It blew the internet up recently. We're going to talk about that, though, and just sort of leadership at the top. And what does that mean, you know, with our leaders at the highest levels, sometimes making those kinds of mistakes. So we'll discuss that later in the show. Also, we're going to discuss the movie that came out about a month ago called The Lost Bus. We'll talk about that real-life event that happened in Paradise, California, And so we're going to be asking some big questions. We got a few laughs along the way, and it's going to be a great show. So stick around, because whether you're an educator, parent, or just somebody who loves to be entertained, is going to be a great show tonight. We're live again from Studio 24. The bell's about to ring. Let's get started.
Yes.
All right. So again, the headline this week, starting off at the top here, comes from two very different places, but there's some really interesting similarities in both of these cases. So in Louisiana and Connecticut, again, these stories are eerily alike. In Louisiana, a former high school student is suing his school district after graduating with a 3.4 GPA, despite claiming he never learned to read or write. And then also in Connecticut, there was a recent graduate that says she never learned to read or write, only to be able to walk out on the stage and to graduate. And so, students are saying that schools might be pushing them through to graduation. And so this kind of raises a question, are we raising achievement or just kind of raising grades sometimes? And so we'll talk about grade inflation and social promotion. Are we giving more A's than ever before, and making sure graduation rates are high, but yet pushing along students that don't have skills needed to be successful? So we'll talk about those things. Again, tonight we're asking, are we helping students or just handing out diplomas? So that's going to be one of the topics. And so we'll unpack the truth behind this and the truth behind the transcripts. I want to start over here with Dr. Rogers. This is an interesting situation. And I mean, we could go a few different directions. We could talk about literacy. I mean, that's, we could talk about IEPs. We could talk about accommodations and modifications and FAPE, and are these students being served? But we can go those directions. But one of the things that I think we could also go in this direction is, again, are we graduating students? Are we giving out higher and higher grades without making sure students have the skills needed to be successful? And, can you tell our audience out there who maybe is unfamiliar with grade inflation, what that is? Like, what does that look like? And is that something that we should be concerned about? I don't know that that's the situation in this case, but it definitely brings up some concerns about, those kinds of things maybe happening, right? So what is grade inflation for our viewers out there that don't know? And have you seen that in schools yourself?
Well, in California, I really don't think, we can look at Texas, Louisiana and Connecticut and say they're the same. We have, again, ethical and moral obligations to provide students with the best grade that represents what their work performance is. That's why we have things like UDL, Universal Design for Learning, where you can use your hands, and CTE programs where, again, you can apply, different skill sets to learn. So I don't, again, I haven't seen it, where there's grade inflation. I know we have grading for equity, for example, where we look at different ways in which we can measure grading, because sometimes the standards that we have are just not applicable or right for all students. And so we look at how can we grade and measure learning for all students. And sometimes it's going to look a little different.
Yeah.
So grade inflation, yes, I get it. I understand. Some people, push people through for different reasons. Athletes, for example. You want a student to make the grade so they can go out there and play and perform. So they give them the grade so they can do that. And then there's accountability. Okay, well, you're not getting the grade that you deserve, so why are you receiving it?
Yeah.
Those type of things. So I think it's a two-way street there. But as far as what I've seen and witnessed, unfortunately, I can't really speak to seeing it, but I've read about it and I've seen it on different shows. But as far as my colleagues, we have not really talked about a lot of grade inflation because we do believe in holding things to a standard and being ethical in that. And
I do want to also just, again, comment on the fact that this may not be the specific case for these two situations here, but, grade inflation, there could be a whole bunch of other stuff related to free and appropriate education, making sure students have, appropriate accommodations and modifications. As we talk about this, we're not necessarily specifically saying that these are things that have happened in these cases, but it does kind of raise some concerns that maybe, you know, those kinds of things could happen. I love the fact that you talked about, you know, looking at other alternative ways to assess students. Standards-based grading,
Right,
you know, is one of those
exactly.
options, right?
Right, because you know, grading, as we know, just in our country, has looked at who is being successful from our grading practices and who has not, and then taking that number and those populations and asking the question, you know, are we really grading on performance base, or are we grading for competency? And then are these tests and the standards that we have fair to all students? Like you just mentioned, IEP, accommodation, the different things of that nature. And with so much else on the plate with trauma and just being able to do social emotional learning and everything else that goes along with it, you know, are we at a time or a point where we can start looking at, well, what's different? You know, I know I'm going to quote, not quote, but I'm not going to misquote. Gholdy Muhammad just went to a conference, and I was listening to her speak about, you know, Black genius, for example, looking at the genius in students and saying that each student has their own genius. We just have to, as adults, tap into what that genius is. And as responsible educators and practitioners, we should be trying to extract where are the strong points in these students that we can highlight what that is versus saying, well, this is what you have to do. And if you don't meet this, then you're not smart or qualified or whatever the case may be. But for us as educators to go into that student's mindset and say, hey, how can we tap into your greatest strength and highlight that?
I love that. And it reminds me, too, I actually did get to see Dr. Anthony Muhammad, famous for PLCs. I got to meet him. Incredible guy. You ever meet him?
I did. I have a picture of him.
So
Picture with him.
smart. So one of the smartest people I've ever met. Super inspiring. But he talked about standards-based report cards, too.
Right.
And he made such a good argument for it. He gave this example of, you know, high school can sometimes be like the, you know, or school can sometimes be like a buffet. And I don't want to mess up what he said, but if you ever get a chance to see him speak about that, I mean, definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then also I want to go over here to Tony. You know, the other thing too, again, just got to caution, may not be the same. Could be a separate case. We don't know exactly all the details of what was going on in these two states, but you know, motivation is something too that sometimes can come up. You know, sometimes students might pressure teachers, "Hey, I want to get that grade to maybe make the sports team."
Right.
You know, or I, you know, have a certain grade I'm not passing, but you know, mom and dad really want me to get a C. You know, that I guess the question kind of comes up too about motivation, and are we sometimes maybe taking away that natural incentive to want to try by sometimes if we do change grades for students, what could the impact on motivation be for those students?
Well, you know, thinking about like just, you know, you're talking about the IEP and having kids that are so different and you're trying to get them to, you know, succeed, right? You're trying to get them to pass with that C, get that diploma, hopefully, right? That's the idea. The problem is it what I've seen is there's such an individualized philosophy from classroom to classroom. So the inflation in the grades, it's a real thing. It happens. I've seen it happen, you know, because again, as a case manager, in addition to a teacher, I had to follow my kids, like, well, and I had to, you know, talk to all these individual teachers. And so I noticed over the years differences from personality of the teacher to, you know, exactly what kind of disabilities students have. Sometimes I show a little bit more grace, so to speak, for certain kids. So there's such a gray area when you're talking about this kind of stuff. I like the standards-based approach. I would say that's something that needs to be looked at because human nature is going to be human nature. But if you make standard-based, that's the new practices. Well, then I would like to think legally districts wouldn't be so liable. You know. Yeah.
And I mean, standards-based report cards. It seems to be taking getting more and more traction in districts, right? And by the way, let us know in the comments too, does your district use traditional grading or do they use standards-based report cards? And, what are your thoughts on it? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Is it effective? Is standards-based report cards effective or traditional grading? And have you noticed concerns regarding grade inflation too? I think there have also been reports recently about that happening even at the college level.
Yeah.
In higher ed, more and more students receiving higher grades. And so it's definitely an interesting topic. But I wanted to go over here to Marc Maple. Mark, at what point do we say that, again, some of these things are a personal responsibility for students? Needing to learn the subject. And it's like, when you were in school, right, there was that personal responsibility when you were younger to try to learn these skills so that you could be successful after school, right?
Well, as a lazy person, I know how it is to cheese your way through a grade. There's also there. You gotta also remember it. This is grade curving has been around for decades.
Right.
So based on the teacher and however they were doing, sometimes they'd be like, "I just want to get through this year." They're all going to get passed. I don't care. It's fine.
I don't want to have this kid in my class again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. You have that.
There's also, so they give out all kinds of extra credit where it just after a while, it's like you would fail in order to fail in that class. So what was it? 3.4, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's B average, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's a high B average.
Yeah, high B average. I was a high B. I was a B average student.
Right.
So when it came to like my grades, I wanted to get through it, but also in the back of my head, I didn't care. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get through it.
Right.
So you talk to a friend of yours, you help each other out. Back in the day, there's Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Clippy.
You would read the first chapter of the book and the last chapter of the book and then kind of skim through it. So I know how it is to sometimes cheese your way all the way to the top. And kids are smart at that. And I'm sure they're smarter than ever at that right now.
Right.
Well, with AI too, right?
I don't even want. If I had AI,
Back when you were in high school,
if I had AI, I mean, I don't know how to talk, but I know how to read. So,
or do you mean A1? We're going to talk about A1 later.
A1 is the AI is the A1 of education.
Yeah, that's funny.
But no, it's been. I guess it's always been an issue. I don't know this particular situation in Louisiana. Again, this is a different state. I don't know what's going on, but I think kids will always be able to find a way. Oh, if there's a will, there's a way. A kid will find out how to get through class and how to get that grade in the end.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree with Mark on that. It's like life in general. You have people who will always shoot for the ceiling and soar.
Yeah.
And then you have some who just ride the coattail of those soaring and say, oh, that's a nice trail. Let me go ahead and hop on that trail.
Yes.
Because I don't want to lead it, but I'll just take the easy way and just take their path they already paid for me.
Yeah.
And then you have some that just don't care. So it's always going to be that mixture of people. And I think as educators, what we try to do is we try to take those on the fence and get them over, and then we do the tier 3 where we we dive deep to get those who really don't want to do it and try to show them the way and give them the why, So it's always going to be that mixture of students, and just because it's human nature.
Yeah.
Some are going to want to exceed and excel, and then some are going to just do just the minimum just to get through.
Just to get through a Spanish class. I don't know. I took in 2 Spanish classes in high school. I don't know any Spanish. So.
And nowadays with glasses and AI, it's like, do you really need to learn
It
now?
does it right for me.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have something in your ear that's telling you what to say.
Yes.
And then talking about that too, though, some people kind of riding the wave and kind of reminds me of projects too, group projects. That's
Right.
a big thing as well.
Right.
Sometimes we got project-based learning and trying to make sure that we are setting up those projects in a way that everybody has a task, right? So that those kinds of things don't happen because you can't avoid it.
Right.
You know, you
You're
got to be
always gonna have
intentional about
somebody who doesn't want to do it and just waits for everybody else to do the majority of it.
Yeah.
When it came to the big project at the end, they always go, if you don't do this project, it's going to be 1 letter grade for you. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to get B. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
The professor wrote the book. I'm not falling for this scheme. I'm not buying it. So that was always me.
You know, and I wanted to ask you too, what's one thing that, like, you know, schools can maybe do tomorrow to try to balance compassion with accountability to try to help students so that we're, you know, making sure they're successful, but without lowering that bar?
Again, going back to having people discover the why and the reason behind it, and then making it meaningful for the students and understanding and connecting community with it. Like, what do you want to, where do you want to see yourself? And by bringing in live examples and constantly having that connection between what does it look like once you leave here, and then give people, again, an imprint of that, because sometimes it's hard for you to go somewhere where you can't see where you're going. If a student wakes up every morning and doesn't realize why they're going to school because you told me to, then it makes school less motivating to go. But if you give them that incentive, that inner incentive to want to be there and to want to know that there's life after this, and for that connection, whether it be a counselor, a teacher, a parent, the custodian, anybody to talk to that child and say, hey, you know, do you want to do X, Y, and Z after? Where do you want to see yourself? I remember I had a custodian, and I was going to speech class because I had my speech impediment, my lisp, and the custodian was, you know, getting on me because I didn't want to go to the classes, and I was failing. He said, "Let me ask you a question." Now, this is no knock on any custodian. He said, "Do you want to do what I'm doing, or do you want to do what the principal's doing?" I was like, "Oh." You know,
I've used that line as a school bus driver. I've also used that line. You can either be me right now, or you can be a lawyer or something.
Right.
You know?
And that made me think, though, because I never really thought about it, you know. And so, and that gave me an understanding of when they put people in front of me who were models and examples. So I did see a lawyer, I did see an astronaut, I did see different people in different spaces who looked like me. I'm like, oh, I can become that too. So instead of not having an idea or an imprint of where I could go, now I had a fresh imprint. And so I think it's important that kids have imprints of where they can go. Then they're more motivated to do it.
Right.
Such a good point.
This is a good outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that you talked about the why, you know, making sure students have that why. And, you know, we could find more opportunities to bring in guest speakers to show students, to help. Maybe there's classes like the Success 101 courses where you look at, you know, future job opportunities, you know, different schooling opportunities, post high school, whether it be trade school, the military.
I think in high school they should teach finances way better, because that's something we're all going to have to deal with when we're adults. So I have no clue why instead it's like metal shop or whatever the heck else. I think finances should be top 5 things should be teaching kids.
And again, going back to why CTE is so important these days, because you can take those trades and you can say, okay, well, then what sticks to you? What resonates with you? And you can do those things, because, you know, everyone is not cut out for college or wanting or desiring to go to college. And by all means, the world needs a little bit of everybody.
Yes.
You know, so someone needs a plumber, electrician, you know, a painter, or whatever, an artist or whatever type. You know, so you need those skill sets to do that. And I was listening to Dr. Mackey at one of the conferences talking about, again, the STEM programs and how important it is, especially for Louisiana, because those kids are given a basketball or a football way before they're given any tool to fix anything. And what message do you send when you tell a kid that ball is going to get you out the hood, but these tools or your hands or the things that you have within your own ability, not good for anything? So what messaging are we sending? So again, I think it's important that we show kids just how important their brain is and just how important the use of their own internal skills can get them where they want to go.
Yeah, such good points. And again, I like what you talked about regarding finding the why. Also, Tony G mentioning, you know, that it is true that sometimes it depends on the teacher. You might see a variation of grades, right? And so is that reflective of, maybe biases and things like that. And maybe we should have standards-based report cards. And also, a lot of great points over here that were made regarding talking to students and, hey, what do you want to do after high school? And so, we joked about it, but these are real situations that are happening. Students are graduating without basic skills, and as educators, we got to really dig deep and try to figure out how can we support these students better.
Right. And Jeremy, for you, you worked on both sides, in the classroom and administration. How do you keep standards high without, discouraging the struggling students?
Yeah, good questions. I honestly think that, again, what you guys are mentioning regarding, going back to the standards-based report cards, I think that could be a solution. Mm-hmm. But I think that, we have to have high expectations for our students. Mm. Our students, are struggling right now academically with literacy, math skills, science. And if we want to make sure that we have, a workforce that's ready and competitive for the 21st century with skills that are needed, we have to support our students with, rigor, and we have to also support them. And I also like, the MTSS model, multi-tiered systems of support. Mm-hmm. And I think that we can look at, we've got tier 1 students, tier 2, and tier 3. How can we make sure that they have the supports that they need to be successful, close those gaps, and still have rigor? We can do that. We definitely can. But we need to make sure to also ensure we're differentiating for all of our learners.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's critical.
Thank you.
Yeah. Grade inflation, again, it's an interesting topic, and we might come back to that later too. But we are going to move on because there's an interesting situation about A1 steak sauce or A1 teaching.
Now I can start talking and holding back.
Yeah.
Now you got A1. Now I'm all ears.
So, our headline this week, it might be one of the most well-seasoned education stories of the year. So back in April 2025, U.S. Secretary of Education was at a conference, a summit about the future of technology in schools, and she proudly announced that some districts were investing in A1 teaching. That's right, again, not AI, A1 teaching.
I thought they need A1 teaching.
That's
maybe
what
they
need
strive for.
Maybe they did an A1 for the school meat, to make the school meats taste better.
There we go.
That's just a little joke.
Meat? They have
I'm
meat
not
at
saying,
school?
you know what? Maybe they don't. Do we have Salisbury steak?
Well, here's the
You
thing,
guys are
though.
the administrators. Talk to me.
I'll tell you this right now. The A1 sauce company did say that education is high stakes. So,
boom, we got 2. Maple, come in for the 3rd anytime.
I don't do dad jokes. Okay? I don't do the dad.
I do real
jokes.
comedy over here.
I do dark humor. I don't ever do dad jokes.
Get in the A1
You do
sauce
more
with
your
us,
dad.
We're in a hot tub of A1 sauce.
A hot tub of A1 sauce. Okay, I think we're losing
next
it.
to me. So.
I think we're losing it.
Maybe Linda McMahon just sees the kids as cattle, I don't know. That's
There we go.
Too much
Hey,
WWE for her, right?
Talk to us, Jeremy. What's going on?
So the internet it sort of fired up the grill. The A1 brand itself, the A1 brand jumped in on this. You guys got to hear this. I don't know if you heard about this. What they did. So the A1 steak sauce company, they actually did a deal. It said every school should have access to A1. So, and then they also did a photo of a bottle labeled for education purposes only.
They struck a deal out of this?
Hey, they probably could have.
Hey.
They're trying to.
Hey, that's free publicity right there.
I mean,
That's right.
Get the kids hooked on it early,
Exactly. But, here's the thing. And in all seriousness, this is such a funny topic. But, it kind of gets to the point where we could talk about AI. We've talked about that a lot on this show. We could go that direction. But I thought it might be good to talk about, this could just be a simple mistake. It could be a teleprompter issue.
It's probably that.
It could
I
be,
think it's an Anchorman thing.
Yeah. There could be
a Ron Jeremy thing?
Not Ron and Jeremy. They're Ron Burgundy. You got the Rons mixed up, sir. This is a family friendly
honestly,
show.
isn't it?
Oh, man.
Okay.
Come on.
To kind of
Be
stay off.
well mannered. Come on.
Mark, good call. Thank you for saving us there.
Ron Burgundy.
Okay. Isn't it a little funny though?
I know this, by the way.
We're all old enough to talk about it. Like if you go back to when you were a kid in the 80s, right? We're all in the 80s, and you're looking at like the newspapers, and you was like, there's no typos in the New York Times or this or that because it was prestigious writers, and how dare you ever mistype? And now it's like there's so much information. How does one not mistype?
Mm.
I mean, I audio text.
Yeah.
I'm saying some really dumb things sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
and on accident.
it happens. It happens. I mean, earlier the comment too that we made about, well, we're not even going to bring it up, but the fist bumping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. We'll leave that. We'll leave that. We'll let it go. It happens to all of us,
Yes.
so we won't go there.
Happened to me twice today.
Yeah.
That's our Bill Maher hour where we're going to have down the road 20 years from now.
Yes.
Maybe 10.
All right, so moving on. Here's the thing. Again, if some of our senior, top officials, governors, secretaries of education, they could make these sort of mistakes. It does sort of, beg for us to try to answer the question: what kind of, how much do our senior people who are making policy decisions, how much do they understand what's going on in education? Because again, maybe it was a teleprompter issue, maybe it was something else, but also, I mean, if that was just kind of plain not being in touch with what's going on currently, I mean, that's kind of a serious thing.
Right.
And
Did
so,
anybody ask her again, like a follow up? You can go. You meant AI, right? Did anybody ask that towards Linda?
that's a good question. And this isn't to go political either, and we're not picking on any side. But it's, it's just, our governors, our secretaries of education, how much do they really understand what's done on a day-to-day basis with support staff and, driving a bus, or with our yard duties, our campus monitors, our teachers, our senior educators at the district level too.
Right.
Like, I mean, they're making important policy decisions all the time. It kind of makes you wonder, again, if they really are connected to what's going on in the front lines. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And what I think is interesting about that is it's a thing where you have people who were voted into a position that they were never educators.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in the classroom, so they don't have that experience to be able to speak to that. And so they have to rely on people to give them that information. Now, who they surround themselves with, is debatable. And as a result of that, these people are making laws and policies for our children, and we have to follow them because that becomes law.
Yeah.
So we have to ask ourselves, how is we, of change makers, able to create influence on that? I know, like Jeremy, for example, your trips, up to Sacramento, for lobbying and legislation. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah. Good question. I mean, you're right. I did. I've had opportunities to go to Washington, D.C. to meet with governors and several other people as well. But also, I've been to the Capitol a few times, meeting with lawmakers here in our state as a chair of legislative policy and a vice president of legislative action. And, those were great experiences. I will say that I really felt like a lot of our lawmakers really are sincere, in trying to make a difference and trying to help. They're so busy. I mean, how often do they get a chance to come out to the school sites?
Right.
I would invite them. Hey, please come on out. We'd love to have you.
When's the last time you saw a policymaker or a lawmaker inside of school? When's the last time?
A couple years ago, Mayor. Actually, yeah.
I mean, I have never seen one on the school bus,
Yeah.
but so never in my field.
What about you, sir?
Well, not a policymaker. We're talking like representative, governor.
Like Congress, governor, somewhere.
No, but I got a funny Arnold story that's not my story, but
From when he was governor?
no. Yes.
Oh,
Ready
okay.
for this one? It's a tell all.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You guys didn't know it's coming. Who knows? Who knows? It's out there. It's about to be out there. So Arnold comes into where I used to work at CYA, and the school is called Chad, NH Chadershan, I believe.
Yeah.
And so
The
so
Chadwick compound.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm there. Well, I wasn't there. Excuse me. I'm telling the story through teacher and my mom. Stories.
Yeah.
And Arnold's coming in, and he's the governor, and he's in a bus, little white van, and he's coming in, and he's meeting all the teachers and stuff. Hello, hello. He's doing his thing, right? And he gets in the bus, and one of the guards pepper spray shot him. And it's all over Arnold. He's oh God, he's coming out. He's coming out like that, right?
Arnold, we love you, by the way.
Yes. Hey,
it wasn't on purpose.
Gave me the dragon energy for comedy.
I don't mean to laugh.
We gotta laugh.
Yeah.
But policymakers, back to your question. This is the policymaker question I have. I don't have one, but that's what I had for comedy purposes. But how do you get that? How do you get that? I'll tell you how you get that. You said it last week, and I didn't get to say it, but I'll say it now. Teachers need to have a powerful influence in policy. Why are teachers not having that power? We are not anymore, but the teachers that are working, they're out there. They're the ones that know the kids. They see what needs to be fixed. What's that? They're not getting that voice upwards. So they're just we're just having these entities, you've got special education, you got the union, you got the district, right? And then overhead, you got the policies. And they're all entities, but we got to get to where back to the teachers. So that's my question for the policymakers. How can we get teachers doing this?
Yeah.
It needs to mean something.
Yeah. And we definitely have to invite them to our campuses more and then really encourage them to stop by so that they understand what's going on in our schools. Because if, we're going to be passing different policy reforms that regarding literacy, regarding math, regarding a whole host of different things, we need to have them present so they know what's going on in our campuses.
Right.
The social emotional concerns too.
Right, because you're talking about, teachers having more of a voice. And I think Jeremy's right. They need to come to the schools because think about all that teachers have to do. Do you think they have time to go someplace else and do that? That's a lot, So having the people who are making these policies and laws first come talk to the educators on the campuses, but also see what the kids are experiencing.
And not your staffers. Like we're talking, you yourself, come visit a campus.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Love to have you.
Not a representative, but yourself. Just go to a school district, pick one and just say, hey, I want to see exactly what we are voting on, what we're making policies for, because that way you can have firsthand experience on what that feels like when you make that impact.
Especially for those assembly and senators that are on those education committees, subcommittees. Yeah, you got to get out to the schools,
Yeah. Oh, I'm with them now to get elected, but when I'm in office, I don't know. It would be better if more people in office would visit the situation at hand.
Yep.
Yes. And by the way, we did look it up in the back, and it turns out there was no official comment from the education department to verify that was a mistake.
Oh.
So that may have been.
We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, who knows?
The A1 AI situation.
Yes.
Well, that's
that's a
shame.
perfect example of, Linda McMahon. I've watched wrestling, pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
So she's the wife of Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, whatever. So it's like, how much experience does she truly have with education? So appointing people who don't have the credentials to do that job is a bad mistake.
It doesn't seem like a lateral move.
That was good.
Maybe they have a good wrestling schools. I don't know. What are they teaching in the wrestling schools?
How do we get through the fiscal year to get to WrestleMania so that way the main event has from that to we got to help fund these schools so they're
Wait a
more
minute. How many times
staffed.
Can we get wrestling schools, for the high school aspiring to be wrestlers?
She's not doing that either.
I'm just trying to find it out for her.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm her advocate.
There are wrestling teams in high school. Maybe that's the way it fits. You know, who knows?
That's amateur wrestling. It's not the real stuff. It's not professional wrestling. It's amateur wrestling.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But this stuff almost writes itself, right? I mean, and so I actually wanted to ask you, Mark. You know, I mean, this story, it practically writes a comedy set for you. You know, again, what's your take on the A1 teaching moment? I mean,
I think it's funnier and more sadder that no one had said, you meant AI, right? Like, just a double check could have been fine, but now we don't know. So now
it's a mystery.
Now it could just be her reading something off a paper and there was a typo. It's unfortunate, but you know, luckily I'm not the one appointing people to positions like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's actually nothing that can be funny about this situation at hand, sir. It involves real
comic
people.
smart.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
trying.
It involves real people and real kids.
But we do care about the kids. It always falls back to that, the kids. And again, you know, I'll just throw the word out there: empathy. You know, when people start stop chasing the paper.
Yeah.
Let's be real, right? Get to that place of I'm here to help these
Before
kids.
we move on, though, I do want to ask you one question too on this. I mean, when you did first year, and this is the last question.
Sure.
On this before we move on. When you first heard A1 teaching, you know, did you think finally, you know, maybe a policy with a little bit of flavor here? Is that what you were thinking as a comic?
You wrote these people.
Is that
You wrote these people.
You had to do it right when I was getting all fired up. I was getting in my flow, Jeremy. That was good. That was good.
All right. So, all right, we will get ready to move on. But, you know, again, we've all laughed at this A1 teaching moment. And honestly, we should. But at the same time, it's also sad, too, right?
Right.
Thinking about that. It can be funny, but it does remind us that, you know, even people in high offices sometimes can get lost in the alphabet soup of the sauce or soup of education acronyms, because there's a ton of them out there. But underneath, you know, the humor, again, there's a real issue here. Education works best when people who are making these policy decisions, when they actually know what they're talking about and what's happening in our schools and the front lines. And so great leadership in schools and in Washington, it starts with awareness, empathy, right? And a dash of humility, because, you know, if you're going to talk about improving teaching and learning, you'd better understand what it's like to be in the classroom. And otherwise, you're just adding sauce to a recipe you've never cooked. I had to do it.
It's a real sticky situation.
It is. It is.
Tangy and savory. It's sticky indeed.
That's right. And, you know, that's not A1 teaching. It's medium rare leadership. Moving on. We're moving on. I had to do it. I had to do it.
There's a rule of comedy.
The show.
Listen, Gilbert Gottfried. Okay, he would just push it. You got to keep going. You got to keep going.
That's right.
You know, he would just go. So, hey, Jeremy, why are you making us look bad? That's what I have to ask.
Hey, I'm trying here. Our ratings. We gotta make it funnier.
You got
more laughs.
Boost the socials.
Yeah. I'm just playing. Okay, so our final segment here, one of our final segments, we're going to talk about an incredible story that came out of Paradise, California. Our headline this week takes us to the classroom, from the classroom to the silver screen, and straight into one of the most powerful stories ever told regarding a school bus driver and a teacher. And so we'll discuss this. A few weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago actually now, the Lost Bus movie came out and it hit theaters, and it was based on this true story, for those who don't know, of a bus driver, Kevin McKay, and a teacher, Mary Ludwig, who risked their lives to save 22 children during the 2018 Camp Fire in Paradise, California. The movie did star some incredible people. It had Matthew McConaughey was in it. By the way, a little shout out. We reached out. We were talking to his people about being on the show. We wanted him to talk about this. Couldn't make it happen. But also, we had America Ferrera, who played Ludwig. And it follows their desperate hours-long drive through walls of fire and smoke after many parents were trying to contact their children and couldn't reach them and didn't know where they were. But they refused to give up on the kids. And beyond the gripping story, The Lost Bus, it shines a spotlight on a group of unsung heroes that are often overlooked, our school bus drivers. And so we want to talk about that on the show today. So again, tonight we're asking, what does The Lost Bus teach us about the courage, compassion, and the everyday heroes who make education possible before the first bell ever rings? And so maybe we'll start off right here with Mark. We'll go over here. This story has everything: heroism, heart, Matthew McConaughey behind the wheel. You know, what do you think? When you did you hear about this movie before we brought it up?
Well, I appreciate that you guys said you guys kind of get Matthew McConaughey, so you got me instead. So that's a lateral move. I'm glad I filled the shoes of McConaughey. What was the question? I'm sorry. What was it?
So, I mean, you know, did you hear about the movie before this?
I've heard about the movie recently. I did not catch the story beforehand. Bus driving can be scary just on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You got to deal with storms. You got to deal with extreme fog. And also, you got unruly kids. Sometimes you do not have help from an attendant. So you have to keep in mind, your back is always turned to the kids.
Right.
You can't even see what they're doing, especially with cell phones and everything. An extreme situation like this, oh, dear Lord. I mean, God bless. But no, I mean, just driving through a storm can be kind of harrowing, and you're doing defensive driving the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So you're figuring out routes, you're trying to make times, you're making sure the kids are acting appropriate, and you're dealing with the conditions. It's a school bus on wheels. And you just feel like if you can get through it, great. So I've never had to deal with an extreme situation like that. I've had a couple kids on school bus, because I've worked with special needs kids, have grand mal seizures, and that can be pretty scary. You have kids with some pretty intense emergency plans and all those kinds of things. But going through a firestorm, oh my, no,
Yeah.
could not imagine.
Well, and then the traffic too. The traffic was jammed up in, you know, that area. There was only a couple roads in. I actually have been to that area. Skyway was one of them. That was pretty backed up. There's another road too going out of the Magalia Paradise area that was super backed up. And so, you know, they had to try to find these alternative routes. And it's incredible that they made it through. If you haven't had a chance to watch the movie or see that story, you got to check it out.
We had flooding in the Central Valley a few years ago. It was bad. It was just when it was just nonstop raining. So yeah, we had to go over the two-way radio, and we had to figure out what roads to take, because it seemed like every road I was finding, it was early in the morning in October when everything was still dark. You couldn't see anything, and it was just flooded. So there's I mean, I can identify with that a little bit, but not the extreme that our guy McConaughey and whatever the heck the real life bus driver was going through at the time. Kevin McKay, you said, yeah?
Kevin McKay, yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Kevin McKay, and also Mary Ludwig. There's a teacher on the bus, too.
They should never have to buy drinks in paradise. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's an interesting situation, and Dr. Rogers, you know, I wanted to talk to you, too, about you've led schools through, I imagine, crises, right? You're at the district level as a director now, but, you know, what stands out to you about this when it comes to, like, just sort of the courage that was sort of displayed here, this moment, the heroism from Kevin McKay and, you know, what they showed that day?
Well, you know, oftentimes all you hear is the bad stuff that happens. You know, parents get upset, you know, if their kid loses their jacket or they get into a fight or some situation happens. But what about the day-to-day thing? I dropped my kid off at the corner to get picked up and taken to school and come back safely every day, all the time. And that bus driver is doing what? Building relationships.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? You know, I've seen bus drivers, you know, when I was a principal, I would always meet my bus drivers out, you know, give them high fives. Hey, how can I help you? If I had something out there to give them, make sure they had that, because these people are taking their day and making sure that our babies are getting back and forth safely. That is a thing that we take for granted. You know, think about if you put your kid in an Uber, you're like, oh my God, I hope my kid makes it. Well, these are pretty much Uber people because you don't know who they are other than they work for the company, and they're responsible for all of these lives every day. And what I do know is that anytime a crisis happens or anytime something serious goes down at a school, our first line of defense with our first, our parents, our teachers, educators are quick to jump in to make sure our babies are okay.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where we know that the heart of taking care of a child, because there's a few things in my head that go through. How can I go home knowing I didn't do everything I could to make sure that child got home? I couldn't sleep with myself. And I know a lot of other educators feel the same way. And then also, if that was my child, what would I want someone to do to make sure they came home to me? And so it's that heart and that understanding of, as a parent, I care about your child just like I would want you to care about mine, because we are extensions of parenting when they come in. That local parentis.
Yep.
So when you drop them off, they're ours, right? And that's good and bad. So if something bad happens, we will do everything we possibly can to make sure that those kids get back home.
Safety's number one.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's when I was driving. I was always like, if I'm 10 minutes late, fine, 15 minutes late, whatever, 20. As long as nothing catastrophic happens, was the biggest, most important thing of anything. And then, of course, you get on really kids, too, on top of that. So you're almost like a little bit of a psychologist.
Yeah.
And
You're wearing many hats, too.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a lot of hats, because you're dealing with unruly kids. You're dealing with also special needs kids, and making sure, because you got to be in their patterns. Then you got to do their certain things.
I can vouch for Mark because, as you know, he knows my background as well in teaching. A lot of the kids at times were my kids. Those are my students that were causing him or his colleagues grief, right? And it got so bad, I'll never forget one time I saw the video because I was involved with a situation and a few of my students, and this kid, one of my students, attacked another student, and it was an ugly scene. And the bus driver, he's just trying. You could see he's a little guy. He wasn't going to be able to do much, right? And I seen what others are scrutinizing the bus driver, and I'm looking at these individuals, staff members, like, are you serious? This guy's like trying to keep this whole bus safe. First of all, not wreck. Second of all, get over there and not follow the policy of intervention, and he's just trying to keep so again, that's just a testament to what he does.
And it gets loud on a school bus. If
Right.
there's
that
a
alone.
fracas or a fight or something, I mean, those low ceilings, you're in a tube. It gets loud in there
Yeah.
real quick.
I can imagine.
It's chaotic.
You ever do like sometimes extra duties too? Like you ever take the football team?
Oh, yeah. And ride that bus?
Yeah.
That bus is not comfortable.
Field trips can be great, and they cannot be great.
Yeah.
You can deal with a field trip from heck. Trying my best to be G-rated, and you can get like a good one where you go see a minor league baseball team. They give you a ticket. You get paid for 3.5 hours to sit there and watch a game with these kids, but you just want to make sure if it's not a route you're regularly doing, if it's a school you don't regularly do, you don't want any issues, you don't want any complaints, you don't know these teachers, you don't know the parents, so you're just trying to get through the field trip, and you're trying to be on, you feel like you're way more on your toes to be correct in everything what you got to do with that.
I want to ask you, you ever have a bus breakdown?
Yeah,
That happens too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of situations where, going to Southern California, we're in Northern California for the Disney trip, sometimes the buses break down and it's hot, it's May, and,
kids
what do
get
you do?
impatient real quick.
Yeah.
Right. No air
yeah.
conditioning on those buses. And
Yes.
It's like, what do you do? So now, not a psychologist, but now you have to become a comedian.
Yeah.
Because I
There you
have
go.
to, I have
It's
to
like,
entertain these kids until help
Figure out
arrives.
what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
It's
But
all
that's taking care.
relevant.
But that's taking care of babies or whatever, because the parents are not there.
Yeah.
So those bus drivers are unsung heroes every day, in my opinion.
Oh, big time.
And there's a saying too that our bus drivers are the first teachers that our students see.
That's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
guess what?
First, and you know how it is when you got stuff going on at home, and you're like, I just now I got to go to school. You know, you don't want an angry bus driver mad at you for what seems like no apparent reason, and then you're like, great, now this is the start of my day.
Yeah.
So I feel for the kids.
He's got kids messing with him, filming him, trying to TikTok him and whatnot, right?
Yeah, they try to find my Instagram. I'm a
and
Canadian.
he's
My
driving.
stuff is not safe for work.
It's
life.
crazy. And he's got to deal with a lot. And guess what? You know what teachers can do? You just call, this unruly kid, and then the staff will come and talk. But you have to get that
They're
route.
done. They're on the school bus. That's
You
it.
have to get the route done.
Yeah, no, they're not going anywhere. You can't, a teacher, I mean, they go through a lot, but I mean, they can suspend the kid. They can call them in the office. They can take them office. When the unruly kids on the bus, it can get weird. One of the kids knocked me back one time on there. I told the school about it. Unfortunately, that kid got expelled for it. I didn't know. I didn't mean for that to happen. But yeah, you can't put a hands on a school official, and that was it.
Right, not only that, but again, that local parentis. So from the time they walk out the door to the time they get to school, from the time they leave school back home, that's the same thing if they would have done it in the principal's office, because now that's school time.
Yeah.
So hitting an adult and a school official was the same thing that they would have done. It was the same consequence as if they were on the school campus.
I was just trying to get them off the bus for 2 weeks. They threw the book at them. So
Well, thank you.
bad.
Thank you for, being a bus driver and
your
for
service. Thank you.
I'm no longer, but I used to be. I'm a bus attendant now. I help out with special needs routes.
Okay. Well, hey, same thing. We appreciate
hero.
it.
I'm no hero. This the McConaughey's Kevin McKay is a hero.
We got to get ready to move on to final word, but I did just want to mention too, again, Kevin McKay and Mary Ludwig, if you haven't seen the movie, these really are unsung heroes. And, they just, they did what great educators do and great humans do. They protected kids no matter what the risk was,
Right.
as we've been talking about. Now, we do got to get ready to move on to final word.
Okay.
And,
The birthday boy.
yeah, we got a birthday.
Wow.
We got a couple birthdays today, so we're going to be having cake. But and by the way, we got to mention this is our last episode before Thanksgiving break. We'll talk afterwards. We got some exciting stuff coming up next week. But who would like to start us off with the final word?
Give it to the birthday guy.
Tell us what you got coming up, buddy.
All right. So I have a wonderful weekend planned with my wife. We're going to go out to the Bay Area. We're going to go, wine and dine, have a good time. Maybe get a comedy set. I don't know. We'll see. But it's nice. It's like this is my first birthday where I just feel so free.
Yeah.
And I'm doing what I believe in. I'm doing what I want to do with my life. And I'm like, this is awesome. So that's all I got to say for my weekend. I'm excited.
Oh, well, again, happy birthday.
Thank
We do have RG Incredible. He put together a special birthday message for you. We got it right up on the screen, and RG does say hi. He's watching the show right now. Hi, RG.
Hey, RG.
So, again, incredible stuff. And I love the graphics that we got from RG. I mean, he's, giving us these incredible fall graphics. And so we appreciate that. And I also want to mention, too, our studio. We've got another special birthday in the studio, too. Our director, Mike Hines. It is his birthday coming up as well. Yeah. And I didn't give him a shout out last week or the week before. Forgot to do this. They have been making sure that this studio is decorated and incredible. And so we appreciate all the hard work there. Mike and Lynette, thank you so much for all your hard work, making sure that we look like, what was the comment?
Here One Imports exploded.
Right. And there we go. Director Mike Hines, happy birthday. And we also got right there the TED Talk Show team wishes Tony happy birthday. Dragon Energy.
Look at that.
That's what it's about right there.
That's cool.
Dragon Energy. The four of us are going to have it tonight.
That's
Dragon
cool.
Energy time.
That's right. Hey, does RG pay attention or what? Dragon Energy.
Hey, he's my boy. He knows what's up.
That's right.
I'm cutting him a deal.
There we go. All right, Dr. Rogers, what do we got here? Anything exciting coming up? I mean, you just had an article published. We should remind our viewers to check that out if they haven't seen your article.
Again, check the article out. It's about family engagement, cultivating collective voices in the Leadership Magazine for AXA. Again, if you are not a member of AXA, please join. Leaders lead with heart. Leaders lead with the best intentions, teaching and uplifting and elevating people around them. They lead loudly, and they don't have a problem with saying that, again, because leaders understand the importance and the value of humanity and people. So go out there and check that article out, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Want to take us home?
I believe in a separation of comedy and education. So go to my dark comedy show at Punchline Sacramento. This Saturday, November 15th, Cookie Williams is going to be headlining it. She was a former guest. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's much different than school or education or anything like that. So this is just for the adults. Don't bring your kids. Follow me at Marc Maple on Instagram. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
And by the way, separation of comedy and education. I think that's the 28th Amendment, right?
There's an
I
amendment.
think it is.
That's
Yes.
good to hear. All right. I
That's
thought
right.
there was just one amendment about it. That was the First Amendment. All right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's
Ben
our 28th.
Franklin said something there for a few pints about that.
I'm never going to get fired. All right.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes back to like the quote from Abraham Lincoln: "Don't always read what you see on the internet, or don't always believe what you see on the internet."
Right.
Lincoln said that, right?
He said the internet?
Right.
Exactly. He
I
sees
don't
where
know
we're
what
going.
he's talking about, but okay.
People are thinking, wow, oh my God.
Guys, we got A1 sauce to get to.
That's right. That's right. We definitely do. What a ride tonight, you guys. Again, thank you for watching the Education Talk Show, Jeremy Brooks Weekly Recess, episode 13. Wow, episode 13 already. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of interesting things we talked about tonight on the show. It's messy, complicated, and sometimes it's also hilarious. But that's what makes it real, because education isn't a perfect system. It's a human one. All right. Thank you again for watching the Education Talk Show, Jeremy Brooks Weekly Recess. Have a good night. Be
Have a good
safe.
night.
Continued success.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
Dragon energy.
Bye-bye.